Well, we are in Bergenstock, Switzerland for the Summit on Peace in Ukraine. Over 90 delegations are attending, including 57 heads of state, such as US Vice President Kamala Harris, along with organizations from around the world. Security here is tight, with up to 4,000 members of the Swiss Armed Forces deployed. Airspace restrictions are in place due to potential perceived threats, and surveillance is being carried out across the area. World leaders have gathered at this Swiss resort to try and forge a path to peace for the war in Ukraine. Their aim is to develop a common understanding of a just and lasting peace. As host, Switzerland has set the political agenda for the summit, focusing on nuclear safety, food security, and humanitarian needs for Ukraine. As for the humanitarian aspects, it includes the protection of civilians, the exchange of prisoners of war, and the return of over 20,000 Ukrainian children that have been forcibly deported by Russia since the full-scale invasion began. President Volodymyr Zelensky has emphasized that now is the time to choose. One is either for peace or war. Ukraine's peace formula, presented by President Zelensky back in 2022, is a 10-point plan, which calls for the withdrawal of Russian troops and the restoration of Ukraine's 1991 borders, among other crucial issues. But Russia has called this plan unworkable and as a result was not invited to the summit. The Kremlin dismissed this peace summit entirely. And yesterday, by no coincidence in terms of timing, Russian President Vladimir Putin promised to immediately order a ceasefire in Ukraine and begin negotiations if Ukraine withdrew from the 4 regions of Ukraine that Moscow illegally annexed back in 2022, along with requiring Ukraine to drop its plans to join NATO. These terms are a non-starter for Ukraine, which promptly rejected the Russian ceasefire proposal. The Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated, quote, "Russia's plans are not for peace, but for the continuation of the war, the occupation of Ukraine, and the destruction of the Ukrainian people and further aggression in Europe," unquote. Separately, we came from NATO headquarters in Brussels yesterday. We were at the NATO defense ministers meeting, and we heard US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin respond to this proposal by Russia, and he said that Vladimir Putin is not in, quote, any position to dictate to Ukraine what they must do to bring about peace, unquote. In summary, with this summit, Ukraine aims to show the world that it's still on its side while working to secure continued support and discuss the initial steps of a peace process to end the war in Ukraine. Reporting from Bergenstock, Switzerland, I'm handing it back to you.